Welcome to another Whitburn Band archive interview, and this evening I'm joined by Team Tuba from Whitburn Band, which I am proud to be a member of. We have Neil, Alan, Graham and myself, Robert, and if you don't know us already, we are siblings. We have Neil and Alan, our brothers, and myself and Graham, our brothers. So Neil, when did you first join Whitburn Band?
I joined in 2006.
Alan?
1996.
1996. Graham?
I think it was 2002.
2002, and that was 2004.
Maybe 2001.
So we've been together as a group of tubas since 2006 when Neil joined the band. So it must be quite weird in a way, being two sets of brothers and playing in the same section and the same band. It's probably quite unique in banding, certainly in the championship section, maybe even in the UK as a whole. What is it like? There must be, well, I know there must be highs and lows of it being like that, so maybe start with you, Graham. What's it like leading the section as a principal when it's two sets of brothers?
Well, I think I remember a few years ago that the bandsman did a feature on highlighting that, you know, the two sets of brothers and how unusual that was. For me, it's not unusual because it's been that way for so long. You know, we've been in the section for so long. I actually can't remember what it's like to not have two sets of brothers, but I think we speak to each other as brothers do, so occasionally we might be more forthright than you would if you were speaking to someone who wasn't a member of your family. But also, you know, there's always a mutual respect among us. We all offer different things to the section, we all bring different attributes to our playing. And for me, when I take the stage with you as my brother, that is something added for me that is a great honour to play with a band like Whitburn. It always is, but for me personally as well, that added honour of getting to share the stage with not only my great friends in the band but with my family, that means a great deal to me. So I think that's always been a positive for me, having the brothers and for you to be my brother alongside me in the band.
And to share the victories with the family. Neil, Alan, what's it like for you guys?
I think, as Graham said, it's obviously an honour to play with Whitburn Band, but having my brother there alongside me is absolutely fantastic. I think it also kind of helps. I don't know if it's telepathic or not, but you can almost sense when Neil's going to breathe, if he's going to be in a different place. There's almost that connection there, which I don't know if other sections have that with non-siblings, but it's, as Graham said, it's been that long since anybody else has been there.
It's like second nature now.
It's natural for me.
I mean, Neil, you must think the same, that it's like, it must be weird to then not sit next to Alan at a concert or a contest or another rehearsal with another band or something.
It definitely is, and really just what the guys have said is to win with your brother sitting beside you is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know when obviously our dad is involved in the band as secretary and mum's there as well helping, so sometimes it can be the four of us together and we've got many photos of examples of that. But when you think about it, it has been such a long time that it was weird to think that it's not going to be the case, and we do know what each other's going to do and what each other are good at to be able to take that forward. So going with Alan then first, since you've been here the longest, how did you end up playing in Whitburn Band?
So I'm obviously from Whitburn, so born and bred in Whitburn, took up playing school instrument with the band, school, and then came to the Whitburn Youth section, beginner section as it was called back in the day, and then progressed into Whitburn Junior Band. I played there up until, I think it was around about 1994, and I moved down to Kinneil for a year and came back to go to the Nationals, 4-section Nationals, 3rd-section Nationals with Kexton QFAB as they were called then, were sponsored, and then I progressed from there into the Whitburn Band as it is today. It had always been an ambition, so thankfully it's something that's came true for me.
Absolutely, and you're not the first person to mention the ambition of playing with the senior band. Andy Duncan spoke of the same thing, playing with the junior band, growing up in the town and playing. Graham, you were not born or bred in Whitburn, even though you're a son of Whitburn Band. Tell us, how did you end up arriving at Whitburn Band doors?
Well, Whitburn was the band I always wanted to play with, and like Alan, it was a dream come true for me. I joined on second euphonium. I think the band had been looking at me for a while. I was coming through, Pennycook Silver, then Dalkeith, and then Broxburn Public, and as it was known then, now Broxburn Livingston. And I got a phone call from Evelyn Bradley, who still in the band, still a fantastic soloist of the band, and she was one of my idols, still is. Was such a great player, and she asked me to come along and on second euphonium, and yeah, I've been here ever since. It's 20 years this year.
Yeah.
So long time.
I remember when you came to the band, I was still playing with Broxburn Livingston. They are now Broxburn Public on baritone. And I got a phone call from the band president then, Kenny Crookston, to say that they had a position in bass and would have liked to consider it. Now, the wee pitfall I had at the time is I didn't actually play bass. I played baritone. So I picked up a bass very late 2003, I think after the Scottish Open, November. Had a go of it over Christmas into New Year, and I remember coming and having to do a weekend of auditions. I remember doing a Friday night rehearsal with the band. I did a bass sectional rehearsal with Andy Duncan and Mike Marzella, and I did a wee mini audition, if you want to call it that, with Andy, who's a tuba player himself. And then I got a phone call to say, we'd like you to join the band. So that was January 2004, and I've been here ever since. But yeah, I didn't actually play bass until I turned up. I think the bass is bigger than me. Still is, I think. When we arrived, and I remember Andy just being able to go and he'd just play for bars and bars and bars, where I wasn't used to filling this big instrument with air and just running out of air very quickly, and had to develop that over time. But certainly, I went through a few bands beforehand and then came to Broxburn and then Whitburn. But what about you, Neil? How did you come?
I started very similar to Alan, school instrument first, the junior band. I stayed there for a wee while and then went to Bathgate, 3 or 4 years at Bathgate, then to Keneal for again about 3 or 4 years, and then I think I got a phone call from Graham actually asking if I wanted to come to Whitburn. And like Alan, it had always been something I wanted to do, but then you start getting these doubts: are you good enough? Or is it what you want to do? It was definitely what I wanted to do. And I think my audition was actually a concert at Elgin. Where we done that Bass Boys. And we could run off and take our uniforms off and come back with sort of
Beach Boys.
Beach Boys,
so that was,
shorts and t-shirts.
So Andy Duncan had put together an arrangement of the Good Vibrations for bass quartet and called it the Bass Boys, based on the Beach Boys. And we did it at the West Lothian Challenge originally, I think way back in maybe 2004, 2005. And then we did it in Elgin. That's right. And that's right, we had to run off in a set time frame for the band we're playing and come back on with. And of course we had our Bermuda shorts and t-shirts on underneath our uniform.
That concert's memorable because when we came back off, Alan kicked the ball, the beach ball, and then the shoe flew off.
The shoe flew off into the audience. And the people near the front, or maybe at the back looking down, must have wondered why none of the bass players were wearing socks. Because we just were taking our shoes off and into your bare feet, So, that's a good concert to do as your first one. Having to stand up and do that.
But both you and Neil have talked about it. It's like Andy Duncan was huge as well for me, especially in the tuba. He really developed. Because as I say, when I first came to the band, I was on euphonium, and it was really Andy driving it, saying, "Graham, there's an opportunity here. You could. I think you've got the attributes. You might be okay at this. Let's do it." And I had that confidence from Andy. So Andy has had a huge role for all of us.
Oh, absolutely. Forming within the band's history as a player, with Major Peter Parks era, right through to being a conductor in 2003, 4 and 5, and with us individually. So what is it like playing for Whitburn Band? What do you have to be able to, if you were trying to tell somebody who didn't know what the band was like, what highs and lows does it bring? Why do we all do it? Why have we all been here for so long? We've just come back from the national finals here in London, which was a whole weekend, plus a whole week before of rehearsals. So why do we do this, guys? Why are we here? How do you explain it?
Oh, we love it. I mean, we wouldn't do it if we didn't love it, because as you said, it takes a lot of time. You have to balance your personal life, your family life, your work life. to play with a band like Whitburn because it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And to play with a band like Whitburn, you have to give it the time because you can't just. It's not just about the practices here; it's about preparing properly at home as well for the rehearsals. So it's about giving yourself fully to the role. And as I said in one of my earlier answers, it's a great honour. And you know, I've been here a long time, perhaps, but you never take it for granted. You're constantly working hard. You're constantly improving. You want to always be the best for yourself, for your section, for your families, but also for all your friends here, and just to make great music. So, I mean, we love it. That's why we're here. We're still here all these years.
Yeah, I mean, it does take a lot of time, but you find that most, you know, a lot of your best friends are people who are in the band.
Yes.
Because you spend so much time with them, and you do go, you know, down south or to the European or whatever. But you're right. It's very much like you know what level's required. You know what you have to do to get to that level. And to maintain that level.
Those friendships, I mean, I've been great friends with Alan and Neil for years and years and years, and with everyone in the band. And you know, as you say, like, you could line up most of my best friends against that wall over there, and most of them would play with this band. You know, that's just the way that what happens when you play with a band like Whitburn. It's a great family band as well as an elite band,
of course.
And we've shared so many experiences, both highs and lows, in the band hall and on the contest and concert stage, but also in our personal lives.
Yeah, and of course we're just the current custodians of these 4 seats, and you think of the people who went before us, Andy Duncan, John Lambie, Bobby Henry, people like that, so you know there will be, you know, people after us, but certainly to be able to hold a seat and maintain it is. What about Alan, Neil? Tell us, what's it like for you playing with the band, your family being involved in the band for years as well?
As I said before, it's probably one of the biggest honours that I've had, you know, growing up as a child, remembering back to gala days, the local gala day, the band walking down and thinking that's what I want to do. So for me, it's almost like a second job. You know, the amount of time and effort and the amount of money we put in. That can't go unsaid as well. But the enjoyment that you get out of it is just second to none, sitting on some of the biggest stages in the world.
Absolutely.
And performing, we've said friends, it's almost like an extended family. You know, it's like one big family. It's just priceless, you know, you make friends, memories that lots and lots of other people don't have the opportunity to do.
And Neil, of course, when we are sitting on stage playing, there will be people in the audience who, like us, in days gone by, sat there and went, I want to play with that band. So, you know, and what is it like for you? Because your daughters both play instruments as well, take after their dad, and involved in the Whitburn Youth Band and that, so family coming through.
Yeah, they do, and the older they get, the more they kind of realise how much time I'm putting into it, but also the effort that it takes. And then when you win, you know, they're happy for you.
Of course.
When you don't get such a good result, then, you know, should have done better, Dad. You know, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's, you know, just what the guys have said, it's extended family, it's friends for life, really. And obviously, I'm involved in the committee side of things as well, so that's a different level as well.
Absolutely. And getting now into the music aspect of it, we take us through the process of getting the national finals test piece or the Scottish test piece or the Scottish Open test piece from the time you get it to the contest day performance. What do we have to do to get through that? What things do we have to manage with the players, with the conductor, with the other sections to get it to what people then will hear in live? If I think back to, well, you get it, and the first thing I suppose you have to do is individually look at it, sort out, okay, is that going to be a problem there? Do we need to look at that,
Well, I think our section, like many other bass sections in the championship level, we already know what our breathing is going to be before we read any music. You know, I always breathe within the bar, you're always on the bar line, we know that, and it's Alan and Neil do the same. So we always have those things that we're trying to do every time, regardless of the piece. But to answer your question on the test piece, you'll sometimes, even without playing it, you'll sometimes realise there's certain things that you might need to think, well, how do we do that differently? You know, if there's a a really, really low note in the E flat bass part, then why don't the B flat bass player play it? If there's a high note in the B flat part. So sometimes you look at those things, and as I was saying earlier, we all have our own, I think in our section we all have our own individual strengths, and therefore you think, well, how do we utilise those strengths to make it work? And then it's just about practicing in the house, talking to each other all the time about how we approach things, and obviously taking on board what the conductors are telling us. As I say, we're always talking to each other in band hall to say, oh, that's not quite right, let's try that way. When we change the balance around here, maybe try different mutes or whatever it is to maybe get a different sound if it's a muted passage. So it's just about taking everything on board and constantly learning. And I remember, I can't remember who it was, it annoys me, I was thinking it was last week, but there was one of the conductors who worked in here. He said, you never stop, getting ready for a piece. You just arrive at the contest, arrive at the concert. You could keep going. The
process never ends.
The process, and that's true. I think you can never stop learning a part. You're always learning different things, and that's the way I always try and approach it. Or
never stop reflecting on however many times you run it through, what worked, what didn't work, and then you're trying to get rid of all the inaccuracies and solve all the problems by the day. What's it like for Team B flat?
Suppose we'll, as we've said there, we'll get the part, we'll look at it individually, but then we'll get together in the band room and we'll go through and try and work out. We do have regular breathing, but we'll work out if there's any of that needs change. Bits that maybe require 1 hour's only. We'll have a wee chat and see if there's any bits that we might stick the odd pedal note in.
Oh, of course.
Here or there. And just, as you've said, then we'll come together as a section, walk through the parts that way, and then put it all together with the band. But we're still working, as Graham said. I've still got my pencil out in the warm-up room at a contest, marker thing. So,
I think a concert is the same, but on a smaller scale, isn't it? Because you may not have the music as long and there's more of it. So it's very much like, well, that's fine, that one's done, move on to the next one. But obviously it's more, enhanced in a test piece situation. Looking forward from there, how has, especially in test pieces, I suppose, how has writing for the tuba changed in the time that we've been in the band? Especially for Graham and Alan sitting in the principal E flat and B flat seats, any solos or a section writing, is there now lower or higher notes than you'd ever had to expect before? Are they expecting us to be an extension of the euphonium arm in E flats and so forth?
I think certainly my time in the principal E flat chair, I think there's many more solos now than when I was first started out. I mean, as we were just saying, we just played at the national championships. That was the first test piece that I haven't had a solo in. Obviously, with lockdown, there wasn't many contests before, but there's been quite a lot of contests in a row where I'd had quite a prominent solo to play, and that one didn't. And it was actually quite different for me in terms of the approach, because it's like, well, okay, I don't have this big, bit in the middle movement I have to worry about, but in terms of a solo passage. But no, I think that there's many more solos. I think Vienna Nights was a big prominent piece at the British Open that had a very prominent tuba solo in it. Just before that, Concerto Cross solo, playing that with Whitburn. And all it was written, of course, before then. But no, it's they've been pushing the repertoire forward, and I think the extremities of the range are coming in more. Like the solos that I have to play now are much higher than what even Vienna Nights was. So and quite difficult harmonically and such. So yes, it's a challenge. But then I think that's not just D flat bass or B flat bass or bass sections. I think that's all the repertoire and banding. It's getting pushed further and further along, and the extremities of the ranges of the instruments and the abilities of the players is getting pushed every year at British Opens, Nationals, European Championships, with new test pieces written. So we keep learning.
Yeah, and we were talking about the solos featured in test pieces, and we think, of course, the new ones like Vienna Nights, but you think back to Journey into Freedom, which has a really big E flat bass solo in it, going up to a high E flat, which was written, I think, in the 50s. So E flat bass players back then must have been like, what on earth is this?
There's a nice wee solo in contest music, which we're all going to get to enjoy soon. So I mean, there was E flat bass solos before then. It just seems now there's more.
There's a lot more. Absolutely, and of course there is solos now for B flat bass, up in the register as well as.
I suppose that's going back to the last question, I'll probably look how high the part goes for me is a big one. Decide what mouthpiece I'm going to use.
Siphon it off to Graham.
But as Graham said, the extremities of the range has been explored by a lot more composers and arrangers now. And for the majority, the technical abilities getting tested a lot more as well. A lot of the newer test pieces, it's the technical ability of the players is getting pushed further and further as well.
It's like euphonium part now, isn't it? A lot of it.
We had a lot of couple
music,
of double tonguing bars in that piece just there in London, and that. So that would have been. But it's great that the instrument and the section is getting pushed further on, because it's the same with some other instruments like baritones getting a lot more solos, not just cornet and euphonium and horn, perhaps the traditional ones.
Tuned percussion as well.
And we talked about that with the percussion section, the amount of percussion required, the amount of players required. You're talking 5 players, very busy players, in the course of a test piece, playing everything from hammers and railway bits of wood and metal to gongs dipped in water and things like this, and to create all these different sounds. So moving that forward then to test pieces and individual ones, we'll start with you, Neil. What is a test piece that you remember playing thinking, this is a brilliant part, this is a brilliant piece to play, really enjoying it?
I suppose for me, it's one that I've actually never played with a band, which is Blitz. I love playing Blitz. I've never played it with Whitburn. I've played it with other bands, but that would be my... That would be my... This is a taste piece, isn't it?
Of course, that Derek Bourgeois, it's well named. It's meant to be proposal.
I think it's very descriptive music.
It is very descriptive, you're right.
The name tells you everything you need to know about it, and when you listen to it, even without playing it, it's very descriptive.
And it's a very intense piece. And Alan, of course, you played that when the band won the Scottish Championships.
First Scottish Championships.
1999 with Philip McCann.
Fantastic piece. It's a really, really hard question because we've played that in many
we've got quite a lot here to
choose. For me, probably as an individual, Paganini variations. I love some beautiful solos around the band, and an absolutely fantastic bass quartet in the middle. So probably
Philip will be brilliant.
It's still, even now after all the years of it, it's really one of the hardest things to play, isn't it?
It's not
bass repertoire is that quartet.
And it's in the bass repertoire books we were talking about. Quartet is in there as a rep exercise for E flat and B flat bass. What about you, Graham?
That's hard. It's really, I know a lot of people in this band have a great affinity towards fraternity because of how well we did with it, British Open and such. But I do too. That's definitely up there. I love Titan's Progress, played that a couple of times. Love Rococo Variations, which was just played because it's a great piece, but also a great tuba part. Loads of solos and great tuba writing and technical stuff as well. Fantastic writing. It's very hard question in test pieces. But
quite blessed with quite a lot that we've been given, which is good.
Absolutely.
Well done to all the composers.
Absolutely,
I think for me, I would need to pick Titan's Progress because it's quite a monster of a piece for the band, but the bass part is quite a big, and it's really technical.
It's a big ask,
and it's very stamina wise. For a bass player, to have the stamina to play these loud sections at the ends of pieces. But it's quite a big ask. It's quite a big ask as a section as well to pull that off, and we've done it a few times.
That was few in particular.
Lots of continuous double tongue and stuff like that. So it's a great part, but when it works and when the band are playing it well, it's really good. The other one I would need to, purely for selfish reasons, would be Vienna Nights, because Philip Wilby wrote 4 independent bass parts. So I got to play something different from Graham, which means it wasn't the exact same thing all the time, because obviously I play the exact same thing as Graham and Neil does the same with Alan. But Neil got an independent part. We actually got to sit in different seats and everything.
That's right,
I got to sit next to Neil in one choir of the band, and Alan and Graham were together in the other. So it was really good.
Our choir was better.
So we've been quite lucky to play that piece more than once. It's been quite a while since we did it. I think 12 years now.
Scottish Open, I think, was the last time we did.
Yeah, so it'll be good to get that one out again for some reason.
Play that concert.
That's a good piece. So as a section then, do we think perhaps Titan's Progress is up there as a belter of one, or is there another one?
Yeah.
For me it is, because as you're highlighting there, it's a bit of a monster, and the band did well off for the last time we played it in national championships.
Yeah.
It's great music again.
Based on Mahler, of course.
Absolutely, yeah. No, but there's been, I mean, like Shoulders of Giants, you know, that's another good one for the basses. And there's been lots of great pieces in recent years we've been blessed, you know, so that's a difficult question.
Yeah, I suppose, To be continued.
How long have we got?
The band is very dynamic in terms of the engagements that we undertake. So we have contests at the highest level in Europe and nationally. We have concerts throughout the year in various many places. We also have community events with gala days, Christmas concerts, and so a wide varied programme, even they're playing at the rugby games. So what can you think is your best event or contest performance that you've played individually? So the one that you came away with and thought that was a brilliant gig, whether it be a concert, a contest, a gala day, something that you come away thinking, God, I was really proud to play with Whitburn that day because we did this, or...
It's difficult because you've got contests which obviously you know, are shaped by the music, how fantastic the music that we get to enjoy, but also they're largely shaped also by your own experience of how you did at the contest.
Yeah.
You know, so your memories are kind of shaped by that. So, for you know, I've talked about contest performances and some of the great ones we've been part of, but the one that always sticks in my mind was the Edinburgh International Festival when we played Sir James McMillan's piece, All the Hills and Dales Along.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved every second of that. I loved the rehearsal that we had the previous night with the National Youth Choir and then
Christopher Bell
and the quintet, the string quintet,
and
then the next night, and you know, sold out Edinburgh International Festival. You know, the composers sitting there. I remember having a pint afterwards with Chick Cullen in the pub down the road, and a lot of the band were there, and we're all just saying that was great.
Yeah, that was. I remember that being a really, really musically satisfying engagement to do, because not only was there was a big audience there, James McMillan was there, but the piece was brilliant, and it gave you hairs on the back of your neck stood up with the choir right behind us being in the bass section, the very back, and singing over us. It was a very, very good event, that one, a very good piece.
I think the band's been lucky in recent years, and obviously hard work as well by the committee, as Neil was talking about earlier. The band's been getting these great jobs that aren't contests. So you've got Celtic Connections twice at Edinburgh International Festival. Fantastic to play at. Because sometimes brass bands don't get the opportunity to play in gigs that big, or concert venues or events that are that big, unless it's a contest. So it was great to do that in a concert. I loved it.
Yeah. What about Neil?
I think mine's the most memorable thing was when we done the Rambert Ballet, and we done the dress rehearsal. Well, I think it was Wednesday night. We done 3 performances: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and in between times won the Scottish Open on a Saturday afternoon. And for me, the overriding memory is coming back in the coach for the having finished at Festival Theatre, and the results came through as we came off the junction on the M8 that we'd won the contest, and the bus just went mad, and it was like that just sticks in your mind that you've played, you know, like we said before, friends and family, and you've been really busy, and the rewards are so, you know,
of course,
satisfying,
and to be able to play at something of such high, you know, value in terms of the ballet, but also take care and as part of the contest and deliver that performance with Professor Nicholas Childs. It was quite a lot to do, but quite tiring. But as you say, the rewards were quite fantastic in their what we got that week. Alan.
Probably for me, and it's probably on a really personal level, was the concert we did with Williams Ferry.
That's right.
We've got our cousin, our mum's cousin plays with Ferry, Jim Leggett, and I've never actually played in a concert with him prior to that. So, for me, that was probably just on a purely personal level. For me, that's probably one of the biggest. I mean, I could go through list 100 things, but on a totally personal level, just being able to sit and play in a band alongside him with Neil there and our family there, watching it was
Of course,
pretty
there was-
special for
there was
me.
a-
And there was some good music played that night as
Absolutely,
well.
and a small gathering was had after,
Yes.
which
Yes.
exchanged banding stories. And we still, of course, see Jimmy playing with
Yeah.
Fraser.
Yeah.
I was there at the
Yeah.
weekend there, I think. I think I asked him, and he said it was his 40th or 41st nationals,
Yeah.
which is just insane,
Incredible.
incredible.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think I agree with you. The Sir James McMillan performance sticks in the mind. Has been a really, really good, satisfying music performance to do. Contest-wise, of course, we've talked about Fraternity at the British Open in 2017. The band played so well, but we felt the band had played well on the stage, and we were able to get the fruits of our labour, as it were, in terms of the results. But even if it's just a concert or a contest where at the end of the piece, and I remember, sitting where we are, and we see the conductor, and behind them you can see the audience, and you see people clapping. We don't actually hear them clapping yet, because the band. So whether it be a concert or a contest, that feeling, the likes of Procession at the Minster, Pines Rome, good bass parts like that, that are good. They're good moments that we've had. And if we just pull it all back and draw to a close here, our most memorable moment with the band over the time we've been here, whether it be contest, concert, can we think of? I know there's so many to choose from. We've been very lucky to be involved. Graham, we're going to start with you to finish this
there's too many. There's too many. I'll quote an older gentleman in the band, Mr. Alec Fiddler. He says, "When you say what's the most important performance you do, and the answer's the next one."
Yeah.
And that's how I'll answer that question.
Well, thanks for that. At least our questions and our answers are not going to be as good. Neil, I'm going to come to you.
There's so many. I mean, winning the first contest with the band on Vienna Nights at the Scottish Open, winning the Grand Shield on my birthday.
Of course,
was the day I won the Grand Shield.
Was it your birthday?
That was my birthday.
It was just 21. That was 21, wasn't it? Yeah.
I suppose for me, a lot of the band have spoken about Fraternity, and the band were really good, but probably for me was being Titans Progress at London in pre-qualification for the following year. Because as we said, it was a rock hard part. I think that's the hardest thing I've ever played.
To do,
so to get a result like that at London, and I like London, I think that's my favourite contest.
The Albert Hall has that.
Aye,
It's got mystique about it, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If I'll jump in before Alan and say, this might top you on, Graham, is I think the most memorable moment is probably still being here after all this time, still being involved with the band as a player.
When this is here?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that can be edited. To be involved with the band as a section with your brother. Family are in the band, to play at this high level, to still be able to play at the high level, but to also recently be involved in the archive material of the band and the library and stuff. So just to generally do a lot for the band and to still be part of it, and to say, I play with Whitburn Band, people go, oh yeah, that's a good band. Or, oh, you're going to London, oh, that's amazing. Or you're flying to Belfast, or wherever in Italy for the European or whatever it is, to be able to say you're still doing that. And for the kids that I teach, to be able to say I'm still doing that and still being their teacher and still actively playing at the top level, I think is probably a memorable, that you and our late great friend Sam Knox said, if he had the chance to do it all over again, not a question he would do it. It was the best years of his life. So Alan, to finish with you.
I've got loads and loads. Winning the first contest in the first Scottish on Blitz with Philip McCann.
You always remember your first
and Andy Duncan, before I say that, he's done loads for me individually as a player and us as a section. Second at the British Open, Andy on Planets.
Yes, in 2003.
I'm sure it's been said by loads of other band fraternities up there. For me though, I'd heard about the legend that is Major before I came to the band, for the likes of Jimmy, Bobby, Alec. My first rehearsal, I remember somebody describing him putting his arms out and he almost encompassed the band, and I thought, nonsense. Genuinely, he sat there and his arms went out, and it was like, the only way I can describe it, like a big golden eagle or something, just spreading his wings, and amazing. So that, sitting here thinking about that still, hairs on the back of the neck.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
so
the word legend doesn't even begin to describe him. Of a man, of a musician in the brass band world, he just really is without question up there. Well, it's been fantastic to be involved in and discuss some points of being in Tin Tuba, learning about test pieces, how they've come together, being part of Whitburn, and the memories it's come along with it. So my thanks go to brothers Neil and Alan Gourlay, myself, Robert Fraser, and my brother Graham. Thanks for joining us. Bye.